Hello and welcome to my channel, and today we are filming my January wrap-up. I did not read as many books as I wanted to in January. I read 10, which I know a lot of people, to most people that is a lot. To me, I definitely could have read more, but it's beside the point. Let's start this video with some stats in terms of rereads versus first time reads. It was split pretty much down the middle, and that is 5 books that were read for the first time and 5 books that were rereads. And in terms of those, 6 of those books I had previously owned, 3 of those books I borrowed from the library, and 1 of them I bought specifically to read in January. Series, I started 1 new series, made progress, and finished 0 series, and I ended up restarting 2 series. Did I make any progress in either of them? No! Totally lied to you. And I need to fix that on the graph. I started 1 series, finished 1 series, and restarted 2 series. Technically, one of the series that I restarted, I actually ended up finishing. So, yay, that's great. Awesome. It was a manga series, but still, it counts. And in terms of genre, 4 of those were fantasy, 3 of them were manga. That is one of the series that I finished. And 3 of them were middle grade / children. I know that's technically not a genre. It is technically just an age range, but I count it towards my spreadsheet, so it counts as a genre in this case. And finally, my star ratings. There was 0 DNFs, 1 stars, and 2 stars. We did have 2 3 stars, 6 4 stars, and 2 5 stars. So those are all of the stats. Let me know if you kind of liked that addition of the stats, if there's anything you think I should add, or if those were that was too many stats and I should cut something out. But we are bringing back the handy dandy bingo board in kind of a very bright color today. I didn't quite realize how bright that was going to show up on camera. Yeah, like I said, I didn't get to very much today. I don't imagine we're going to get a ton of bingos, but that's okay. I did not finish the January TBR. Is anyone surprised? I did not listen to any audios. Well, technically I did listen to an audio, but if you're new here, I do not double up on my bingo board. It's 1 book per prompt. Same thing with ebook. No ebooks. Also, same thing with rereads. While I said I did reread, none of them counted for this specific. Yeah. While I said I reread a book, none of them counted for this specific thing. Same thing with nonfiction. So that entire first row, nothing is getting crossed off. However, one of the new squares was Goodreads TBR, a book that was on my Goodreads TBR. Whether I've read it or not, I happen to have it set to books that I've had on my TBR the longest, and one of those was one of the books that I borrowed from the library called Girls Made of Snow and Ash, and this is actually one of my 5-star books. So I actually do plan on going out and getting a physical copy because I loved this book so much. This follows our young main character, who's a princess, and she doesn't really care about being a princess. She has always been compared to her mother, and her mother had unfortunately passed away when she was young, and she really just wants everybody in her life, her family, her dad, her stepmother, to be happy and to love her and be proud of her for her, and not constantly be compared to her mother, because she's constantly being told that she looks exactly like her mother and she acts like her mother, and she doesn't want that anymore. She doesn't want anything to do with it. And then one day she finds out that the reason that she looks so much like her mother is because her mother's not her real mother, and that she was made in the image of her mother out of snow. And then we follow in the past the perspective of her stepmother, and how she ended up becoming her stepmother, and her experience as a young girl, also being not human. So it's a very lovely, touching story. It is kind of inspired The blurb says it's like Frozen, which I can see the Frozen elements, but it's more of a Snow White retelling. And either way, I enjoyed this so much. There was no perspective I preferred over the others. I really liked the duality between the two characters, separate and together. There also is a little bit of a sapphic counterpiece. I don't know if that's the right word for that, but there's a little bit of a sapphic element to this story. It is not huge, so if you're going in looking for it to be a fantasy romance, it is not. It is fantasy with a tiny element of romance, and that's probably my favorite type of romance going in. Unless I'm reading fantasy books specifically for the romance, then I don't mind if there's not as much romance in my fantasy. So I loved this book so much, and I really, really would like to get a physical copy. I wanted to get a physical copy before I ended up listening to the audiobook for this from my Libby app, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I could probably order it online, but if I can find a book in store, I prefer to do that. I did get a couple books from the library, but like I said, those will count towards other prompts. Manga. One of the series the only series that I finished this month was a manga series, and that was Mermaid Boys. This is a series that Benson got me a long time ago, a couple years ago, probably, I think it was for my birthday. And this is basically a gender bent Little Mermaid retelling. We follow our prince, who is basically he's just the most attractive prince. Everybody wants him, and he is supposed to find a bride, but of course he ends up falling in love at first sight with this human girl, and he makes a deal where he loses his attractiveness, and he gets to go to the human world to meet her and hopefully get her to fall in love with him. And you can imagine how that turns out. Once they meet, he thinks that she's actually the rudest girl he's ever met, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. But if he doesn't get her to fall in love with him, then he gets turned into sea foam. So what are you gonna do at that point? I read all 3 volumes of this. There's supposed to be more. But remember how I said I finished a series? There's supposed to be more. The 3rd volume ends setting up the 4th volume. I looked it up. I spent hours scrolling through Google and trying to figure out if there was a 4th volume, if it was just online, if there were chapters anywhere. There's not. This series has been on a 10-year hiatus. This series has been on a hiatus for 10 years. I don't know, I'm so beyond sad about that because I liked this series a lot. The first 2 I did give 3 stars, and then the 3rd one I gave 4 stars. That was one of my 4-star books. This is a really, really good series, and I was really starting to get invested in it, and I wanted to see where it would go, what other characters we would meet, and I'll never know at this point. Apparently the author was working on another series a couple years ago, so I don't know if this one is just dead or if it's coming back eventually, because there's been no word about it. It's just on a hiatus. We don't know why, we don't know for how long, we don't know if it's ever coming back. It hasn't been straight up canceled though, so I don't know, anything could happen. No big books, but we do get a book club marked off because for once I finished that space. I have been participating in the Catch Up book club with Becca from Becca in the Books. This time her book club is doing the the Faithful and the Fallen series, starting with Malice by John Gwynne. Basically we follow a couple of different perspectives. I don't even know how to describe this series. We follow a couple different perspectives that are all set in this world, and if something starts going wrong and a war is brewing, and that's pretty much high epic fantasy book, and it's no different from this one. But I really, 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 really enjoyed this. This is a 4.5, rounded up to a 5. It was almost a 5-star. I think at the beginning it was a little tough to get all the characters straight, and something that I really like looking at the second book, I haven't started it yet, but looking at the second book, you kind of see that you get some character grids or character descriptions, so you can hopefully keep those characters a little easier in your brain. And either way, I thought all of the characters were really fun in this. They constantly kept you guessing and going and learning, especially our, I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but especially like our kind of villain character. I really, really, really enjoyed his perspective. Not everybody did, which is really surprising, but I had a lot of fun with this. It was really fun joining the live show and seeing everyone's differing opinions, and yeah, I can't wait to read the next one and continue on and see where things go, because this, the way this ended, I'm hooked, I'm intrigued, I just have not been able to pick it up yet. Buzzword, I am still participating in the Buzzword challenge. Technically I did read the Buzzword. You're gonna think I cheated, and I kind of did, but I ended up picking up one of my other rereads, was The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. This is a children's book that is basically written from the perspective of the big bad wolf. I loved this as a kid, and honestly I couldn't think of anything else that had truth or a lie in the title. I mean, I could have, but I had so many other things going on in January. I already told you I wasn't reading as much as I wanted to, and I would have had to borrow something from the library anyway, so I made it that, and I'm okay with it. And if you want to yell at me in the comments, you can, but I probably won't listen. No unwrapped book, but there is 2 free space books, which great, because they were the first 2 that I started with throughout the year. Let's talk about the first one. This was the first book that I read for the entire year, and probably it shouldn't have been, because even though I really, really, really enjoyed it, it wasn't a happy story. But that was House of Frank. I say this wasn't a happy story. This is very much a story about grief and coming to terms with grief after a loss, and it was beautiful. Connor gave this to me for Christmas. This was his Christmas gift to me, with a $40 gift card to Barnes and Noble. So but this follows a witch whose name is Saika, and her sister passed away, and her only condition on passing away was, I want you to go to this place where they will make my ashes into something beautiful and filled with life. And so she does, but she's really not ready to do that, to go through with the burial, and she ends up staying in this place for longer than expected. And of course, the reason that I picked this up was because it contained the trope of found family, because that was the prompt that it worked for on my TBR, and it absolutely did. We meet all of these new cast of characters that are adorable and fun and heart-wrenching in times, and just, you know, sweet in others. Some are a little more eccentric than others, but most of them you fall for right away, and you can't help but feeling like that with these characters. And I think it's such a lovely story. When I say grief is a major plot point in this story, I mean it. I don't think this was the best book to start my year off with. I think maybe if I had waited, it could have reached that 5-star point that I really wanted it to be, because this was a 5-star prediction, but it didn't quite get there. We did reach 4.5 territory, but I really, really wanted this to be a 5-star. Either way, this will definitely make you laugh. It will make you cry. It will get you attached to some brand new characters and just make you fall in love with life all over again. And I very, very much enjoyed this. And then my other 5-star of the year was a children's book. This was also a gift for Christmas, and it was one that I had told Benson I wanted a copy of because it was at a local bookstore, or not really a local bookstore, but it was at a local media store that we like to go to, and that is the Frog and Toad Storybook Favorites collection. This I had seen there and I was like, I can't wait to get off my book buying ban because I really, really want to buy this. And of course, Benson took that to me and, hey, I'll buy it for you. Merry Christmas. If you don't know what the Frog and Toad series is, they are basically two best friends that go on all these crazy adventures together. Well, some of them are crazy adventures. Some of them are just like menial tasks that they do together. Just things that make sense for Frog and Toad. And they're just absolutely so cute together. You look at these stories and you think everybody needs a best friend like this. They're not overly, sometimes they're not overly friendly, sometimes one of them is just in a mood, but they both understand each other so much. And I know I'm putting a lot of thought into something that's only a children's book, but I feel like we could learn a lot from children's books. I'm a huge advocate on adults reading children's books. I'm okay with it. Also, this edition includes stickers. No classic, no buzz cover challenge, because that's another square that we added. And then this one, this little thing is mostly my my non-bookish prompts. So if you don't want to hear those, you can skip a few a little bit. We did watch a new movie. That was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Again, not a new movie, but a new to me movie. I'd never seen it before, and I really liked it. I had a lot of fun. No new music, no hobby. We went on a date. We did go to Boston to see the Yamato Drummers of Japan, which was an incredible show. If you have any opportunity to check it out, I highly, highly recommend checking it out. It was fun. It was funny. It was beautiful. And you could just tell how much passion these people had for their craft. Also didn't take myself on a date. What kind of human am I? Series. So one of the series that I restarted was Frostheart. I reread the first book and picked up half of the second book. Didn't finish it. I'm going to, hopefully in February, once I get a break in what I'm currently working on. I'm hoping to finish those 2 books and then start on my next series of the month. Did not read the book that was next on the shelf, which just doesn't matter anyway because we reorganized our shelf. So that doesn't matter. And anime I finished a little later than I would have liked to. Technically I finished it on the 1st of February, but because I ended up sick on the last day of January, I gave myself a little bit of a grace period, and even though I started my February reading on February 1st, I decided to finish the last couple episodes of Buddy Daddies, which is a cute anime about these 2 guys who accidentally kill this little girl's father when she's looking for him. She's never met her dad before, but her mom drops her off, and she's like, she's your problem now. So this guy who accidentally kills her dad, decides that he and his roommate are just gonna raise her, and it's very cute, very sweet. They are technically assassins, but they take it upon themselves to raise her, and it's very cute. It's only 13 episodes long, technically 12 because one of them is like a recap episode, but it is a very cute, sweet, wholesome anime. I do think it was trying a little too hard to be like Spy Family. Obviously Spy Family is not the first of its genre, and it definitely won't be the last, but I don't think it did it quite as well as Spy Family, and that is speaking from someone who adores Spy Family. It's my favorite manga of all time, so maybe I'm a little biased, but that's okay. Anthology. So I did complete an anthology. I ended up picking up the Sword Stone Table. I keep wanting to call it the Sword Stone Saga, and that's not what it is. But this is a collection of tales told based on the Arthurian legends, and I had a lot of fun with this. As someone whose only like familiarity with these legends is watching Merlin, the old TV show, and I loved Merlin. I just don't remember a ton of it, if I'm being honest, which might be time for a rewatch, and I'm okay with that because I loved this. I loved that show so much. I did really, really enjoy this. There were a lot of different representations, a lot of different storylines. One of my favorite follows a young woman who is in love with Lancelot, and basically it's about her dealing with the fact that he's part of all these prophecies, and that she might never actually see him again. I had a ton of fun with that one, and then there were other stories that I just loved so much. So many stories involving Merlin and Gwen and Arthur. It was a lot of fun. Most of them were told in like a fantasy setting. Some of them were a little more modern, but the fantasy ones were definitely my favorite. I had so much fun with this, and I don't know, I contemplated on hauling it and just being like, oh no, I don't know if I'm ever going to reread it, but honestly, after talking about it and thinking about it, I think I just might. And a video game. So, oh wait, anthology. Oh, gotta count that up. Video game, so I'm going to check that off. The thing with some of these prompts, though, is I like check them off, or I say, oh yeah, I completed this, or I played this video game but didn't complete it, but I'm gonna cross it off anyway, and then you know, pick something new for the next month. I'm not gonna do that anymore. If I played a good amount of the video game throughout the month and I like made progress toward completing it, I'm gonna check it off on the board, but it's gonna roll into the next couple months. I did play a video game, but I'm not going to talk about what game it is because Benson and I are working on a little bit of a surprise at the moment, and you'll hear my full thoughts when we get to that. So, like I said, we don't have a single bingo. There is no bingos, meaning no points for this month. Honestly, that's fine. I probably won't be relying too much on points. Like I said, books that I get for like have to get for like the series pulls don't count, and if we do any book buying, it's going to be when we're on vacation, when we go in, it's like 10 days at this point when we go on vacation. So that's fine. We still have 4 from, well, we did still have 4 points from last time we played. However, we've spent those. So I've said before that when I get gift cards don't count towards any book buying ban that I have. Because if anybody who has ever purchased or gotten gift cards or used gift cards, you know gift cards don't count because it's not your money unless you're specifically buying gift cards to cheat the system. But I did have a couple of gift cards for Christmas that I used to purchase a few books. Like I said, the next book in the Malice series, Valor by John Gwynne. The Teller of Small Fortunes, which I'm very excited to read. Phantasma, which I'll be reading in February. And Spy Family Volume 11. So those were the 4 that I'm not counting. However, there are a couple that I have to count. So there were a couple that I have purchased recently. One of them I got secondhand. It was at a used bookstore. A Master of Jin, which has been on my Goodreads TBR for quite a while. And I was thinking about possibly just leaving it at the store, and then I saw it was annotated. Like, there aren't very many annotations in it, but one of them kind of got to me that I thought was really funny. It was like, this character is like a messy, jealous, this character is a messy, jealous bitch, LOL. And that made me laugh, so I decided to pick it up and get it. And then the others I got, I think, all full price. Pretty sure. Yeah. I got volume 12 of Spy Family, because obviously, even though I still haven't read volume 11, and volume 13 just came out, I need to catch up on this series that's apparently supposed to be my favorite that I'm not reading. And then for Romantasy-a-thon, which is a readathon involving a fantasy romance, I realized I didn't have a lot, and I was scrolling through TikTok looking for some diverse authors to kind of de-whiteify my bookshelf, and I ended up finding the author who wrote I Accidentally Summoned a Demon Boyfriend. It looks a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited to read this. This obviously follows a woman who summons a demon boyfriend. I'm excited. Then in that similar vein, I ended up getting Dating and Dismemberment, a monster rom-com. I don't think I'm reading this one for Romantasy-a-thon, because I'm trying not to bring too many books when we go on vacation. I'm obviously going to try to bring my Kindle if I can find it. I have no idea where my Kindle is, but if I can find my Kindle, either way, I'm not going to be bringing this. I want to read it soon though, because this looks like it would be a lot of fun. And then I purchased So Let Them Burn. This is a 2025 debut, and the premise sounds really interesting. I know it's a story about sisters, and I'm pretty sure there's dragons, but one of the main things that stood out to me is the author description. It says, Camilla Cole is a Jamaican-American author who answers only to her evil overlord, a cat named Sora. First of all, we love cats. Second of all, we know they're evil overlords. Third of all, Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite video game series, and the main character's name is Sora, so I had to grab it. I had to support. And look at those beautiful sprayed edges. Okay, so that was the January wrap-up, plus a little mini book haul that always comes with it. But like I said, we use these, so we do have to take them off. And it technically, because there was only 4, this leaves us with -1. Like I said, we are going on vacation. I'm not 100% sure if there are going to be like any bookstores in the area that we are going to be in. So yeah, I don't know if book buying will be, like, I don't know if I'll be tempted to buy any more books. I mean, I'm always tempted, but I don't know if there will be any stores where I will feel the need to go visit and buy a couple. As of right now, those are all of the books that I read in the month of January. What were some of the books that you read in January? Are there any books that you think I need to prioritize, or any books that I didn't get to that you think I should prioritize in future months? If so, let me know down in the comments, or just let me know your favorite color. Make sure to hit that like button if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, as well as Benson, who's a frequent member on this channel. I will leave all of their links down in the description box below, as well as links to my social media if you want to get any more updates from me. But until then, goodbye.